Hi, I'm Mary DiPaolo with Coldwell Banker in Westfield, New Jersey.
Thanks for being with us. Today we're here with Frank Sahai, Esquire of Westfield, New Jersey. Frank has agreed to talk to us today about the attorney review process. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Mary. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the whole process, how you receive documents, and what happens from there?
Typically, when clients call me, I like to explain to them that attorney review is the first step in basically a 5-step process leading to closing. It's an important step because attorney review enables a lawyer to review a contract after it's been signed by both a buyer and a seller. And that means it's perfectly safe for a buyer and a seller to sign a contract over the weekend before a lawyer has had a chance to review it. And then send it to the lawyer being confident that if there's any problems in that contract, the lawyer can make efforts to correct the contract. Typically, what happens is I'll receive a contract and I, like every other lawyer, review it, and we find things that we would like to improve, and we send what's called an attorney review letter. The rules of attorney review require us to send that letter within 3 days after the contract's signed. So we can't waste a lot of time. We have to jump all over it. We have to reach out to our clients, review the contract with them, and see what type of changes are appropriate for this contract. People call me, I review the contract with them. For the most part, I, like other attorneys, have standard changes that I feel the contracts need to make them better. I believe that the residential real estate contracts prepared by, for example, you or other realtors are actually very good and fair, but there's certain favorite changes that I like to import within the contract and use that as part of attorney review. Now, what's important to remember is that as soon as I send that letter out, provided it's within 3 days of the time it's signed, my letter will effectively cancel the contract. The contract becomes null and void. And it remains null and void until whatever changes I've proposed within my review letter are agreed upon by the other side. Likewise, the other side may have a review letter to send to me with changes, and I would have to agree to those in order for attorney review to be concluded. One of the big misapprehensions of most people is that they think attorney review concludes within 3 days. The rule is you have 3 days to send the letter of cancellation, but once the letter of cancellation is sent out, there is no rule about how quickly the other side has to agree to it. And I, my clients, the realtors, everybody wants attorney review to be over quickly. So what we do is we strive to reach a meeting of the minds about whatever's in those letters. The ultimate result is that you have a contract that you originally signed with a letter with changes from lawyers and a meeting of the minds about those totality of terms and conditions for the transaction.
Okay, next I'd like for you to talk a little bit about how the home inspection interacts with the attorney and your processing.
Attorney review, I explain to clients, I consider to be step 2 in the closing process. A very important step. Inspection rights exist by virtue of a clause in the contract that says after attorney review, you'll have a certain period of time, usually 10 to 14 days, to invite a home inspector, professional or other home inspectors out to go over the house with you. And essentially the clauses in the contract state that if that home inspector identifies any problems, adverse environmental conditions, or defects, you will have the right to ask the seller to fix that problem. The seller in turn will always have the right to say no, I won't, but if the seller says no, I won't, you can cancel the contract, you'll receive your deposit monies back, and the two of you will part ways. Now that's not what always happens. What usually happens, as you're aware, is that a home inspector will identify problems, they'll be presented to the seller, and a process begins where there is in effort to reach a meeting of the minds about what will satisfy the buyers and still be satisfactory to the sellers.
Okay, let's talk about the mortgage contingency clause.
Most people purchasing property require loan proceeds from a mortgage lender, whether a bank or a mortgage company. And to protect them, virtually every contract contains what's called a mortgage contingency clause that provides they have a specified period of time to obtain what's called a mortgage commitment from a lender. A commitment is simply a letter from a lender promising to loan the money that's needed. Typically, contracts give buyers 30 days to apply and prosecute receipt of an approval in the commitment letter from a lender. The contract has a deadline date, and if a commitment letter is not received from a lender by that deadline date, either the buyer or the seller can cancel the contract.
Okay, our next step is a title search and survey.
Title search is a search of the public records by a title insurance company. A survey is a diagram of the property showing the boundary lines of the property relative to any improvements like a house or a garage on the property.